what I wanted my team to understand is that we over deliver. So that's kind of the culmination of everything. We over deliver because we anticipate their needs. It reminds me, I guess, a metaphor might be when you've got let's use a tradie, because we've probably all worked with tradies. So if you've got an electrician up in the roof or something like that, and he's got an apprentice down here, and the apprentice should be able to anticipate that the electrician's going to need this tool right now or in the next 5 minutes. So he's actually standing there ready to hand that particular, before the boss even says, hand me this thing. And the reason he can do that is because obviously he's getting skilled at what he's doing, but he's also watching very carefully what stage the boss is at and anticipating, oh, this is going to happen next, and then this will happen next, and what will he need for that, and go over here and get that. And when your staff, when my staff were paying attention to the needs of the client, that I wanted them to understand we should be able to anticipate what they're going to say, what they're going to need, or they complain about this, and you can say, let's be, exceed expectations. Let's be proactive. Let's offer this solution to this. And that's what I did all the time when I was on my own. And again, couldn't assume, it was wrong to assume that my team would do the same thing or behave in the same way. So over delivering, I set that expectation. And in terms of setting expectation, this became part of my onboarding every new bookkeeper that I put on. This process, when I was doing what we call the staff orientation handbook, which is a detailed document of basically how I run my business and when you're going to get paid, and here's the computer, and there's this, and all the practical parts of how we're going to get the work done. And one of the pages was this particular document. And I went through and explained basically what I've just done with you today, and gone through and explained what I mean by each one of these elements of what is 5-star service, and set expectations about how we deliver that. And that became a critical step, because if it's not to say, like, people make mistakes and things go wrong and stuff like that, but if there was anything that went wrong, because I'd set the expectation, if there was anything in these elements that they didn't do, if they didn't communicate, if they weren't respectful, if they didn't do what they said, etc., I would actually sit them down. It's like a performance review, if you like, but I did it while it was not an annual review. It was while there was an issue. I'd say, let's go back to our 5-star service document. And this is the area here. You're doing this really well, and that's awesome. And this over here is fantastic. But this is the area, this is the complaint I've had from the client. So I want to revisit what this 5-star service means to me. And let's find out what happened. How did that, what's going on in your world? How did you let that, whatever it was that I needed to find out from them. And then they'd regroup and we go, right, apologies, let's move on. And then we move on again. But you can, because you've set the expectation, you can come back to this document and then deal with the specific issue that you've got at the time.
And what a great opportunity to use this document as a staff review, your KPIs and start a performance review. I hadn't actually thought of it as that, but as you were saying that, let's bring it back to looking at the document and seeing where your performance review is. So and also I was thinking during it is also a great marketing tool to either clients or accountants to let them know that you will only work within a 5-star service. So letting that sink in to clients to know, wow, they've really thought about this. They're really measuring themselves to this document. That's a really strong marketing tool when this is your point of difference. So when we're trying to find our point of difference between bookkeepers. Every bookkeeper says, but I do exactly the same as every other bookkeeper. But you might do the same tasks and activities, but you don't do it in the same way. You're not running the same business model. You are unique. So these things that, you have in the background that you are building out to provide that, or to build that, better, stronger business, this is one of those documents. This is my point of difference, because I know I do all of this. I've put this down on paper. I live this, and so does all my staff, and my clients live up to this as well.